There you go. The episode was perfect. I'm talking about episode 7, of course, from One Piece season 2. Well, I had said that Lockdown was the best adaptation. I wasn't ready, actually. Episode 7 is a much better adaptation than the Lockdown episode. I'm sorry, it's perfect from A to Z. There you go. It obviously adapts the famous Chopper flashback, which actually is what makes the drum arc so compelling, all by itself, actually. Chopper's flashback, incredible. From start to finish, it was incredible. Well, it's all done half-assed. Unfortunately, let's just say it's a style, but everything else was crazy. The music is amazing. The acting, yeah, the guy who plays Ululuch. And he's incredible. How do you manage in a cartoon, in a manga, to move someone with a haircut like that? Alright, alright. Manga can pull that kind of thing off. In live action, a guy has a clover-shaped head. Well, not a clover, but like a medical cross, you know. I think that's it. With a big hat that he puts over his bangs. A ridiculously ridiculous look, with a name that sounds made up, Ululuk. And yet, damn, he's the best character. There you go. He's incredible. He's incredible. The actor is incredible. There you go. It works. Plus, the guy, he acts with his ridiculous haircut. He's probably acting opposite a doll. Because Chopper isn't actually there. And the guy, he's giving his best work. I don't know if it's his best work since I don't know the actor. But the performance is incredible. The acting is crazy. The character of Korea, too. Honestly, he's played so well. He's really great. The episode is incredible. Always engaging, never boring. It's awesome. The emotional moments work. Chopper's story is obviously highly tragic and touching. Ululuk's story is incredible, too. The guy throws out pitches, inspiring speeches after inspiring speeches. When he goes, imagine we can heal a person's heart because they see something beautiful. He tells the story, then we find out it's his story. That he actually had a heart disease, an incurable one, and that he saw something so beautiful. Seeing cherry blossoms in bloom, that it healed him. He's got some color in his face. He sees beauty in the world. You see? It's incredible. When he gives his speech about pirates, with the music and everything. The chills, it was a magnificent episode from start to finish, and it shows that One Piece really has stories to tell. And honestly, the live action really rose to the occasion, I think. There you go. What more can I say? There's not a single thing to complain about in this episode. It was honestly really cool. I want to see what happens next. That's it. I want to see what happens next. But yeah, it was just so good. They respected everything. They respected it, but might have added a few things. About the story of Hiriluk and Kureha. But it works so well. It works so well. With the character of Kureha, who keeps telling him off all the time. But in the end, she's still human and everything. You see? No. It was so cool. The final speech. The final speech. When does a man die? There you go. Damn, it works. Too bad once again. That'll be the ultimate flaw of the series. It's not even its aesthetic. The problem is the direction. And yet I'm not a specialist in the field. Far from it. Just look at how my videos are made when we do staging. They suck. But I think we're not far off. It's a shame that the staging doesn't keep up. Because the rest, honestly, is up to par. The small changes they made to the script, the acting. Honestly, it was really good. I got goosebumps and chills watching the episode. I'm here. But yeah, even Chopper's special effects, they're far from bad, you know. They're really well done, you know. Honestly, we got a little preview in the trailer, of course. But I had the impression, I was thinking, yeah, okay, they show him from time to time, but not too much. No. There are real scenes where he interacts with the guy and everything. It's honestly really well done. You feel like they put most of the budget into that. But honestly, they nailed it. You see all the different forms he has and everything. Even the part where they made him look strong, you know, doing it with practical effects instead of CGI. That's smart, it works. It's really cool, honestly. There's nothing to complain about in this episode. The music is really exceptional, you know. Honestly, the music really makes the scenes sometimes. Well, combined with the acting, of course, but the music really makes the scenes. Well, there are some small changes. But the changes they weren't really necessary, but they're relevant. Because they add a bit to the drama. I'm mostly referring to the dramatic parts of the scene, sorry. I'm especially thinking about the moment when Hiriluk chases Chopper away. Because he's aware that he's sick and will die soon. And he says to him, well, go on, you're cured now, go on, get out of here, come on, bye. But in the manga, which I kind of reread, the manga, it's not quite like that. He really chases him away. Get out, he's serious. He even shoots at him and everything. If I remember right, I saw it 50 minutes ago. Here, it's done more subtly. He knocks, stays inside crying, says he doesn't want to see you anymore, and so on. It works. Same thing when he discovers the formula to make his powder, to make cherry blossoms appear. In the manga, Chopper is there, you see, but here, no, he acts like, oh, come see Chopper, and he realizes that he's not there, and he's like, oh, that's right, damn, that's right, I chased him away, and all that. So it works, you say, ah. Honestly, the episode was just so good, and I'm happy. The episode made me feel good. It's weird, huh? It feels good to watch because the episode is tragic, but it's still tinged with a certain hope, it's still positive in the end. And it feels good to see some content, works of art. It's nice to see some positive works. I think that's what's missing a bit right now. Of course, there are works that are a bit more cynical, a bit more disillusioned, which are very good too, you know. I'm thinking about Jujutsu Kaisen and the various new TV series coming out. But recently we've kind of been on a run, I think, with The Night of Seven Kingdoms, which is actually very positive, even though there's drama and everything in it. But it's really a series full of shonen spirit. And here we have a bit of that too, like, hey, there's still a bit of hope. I think it's cool. I really like this kind of story. And honestly, the show gave its all in this episode, and it was great from start to finish. I can't even tell you a favorite part, I enjoyed everything so much. So, but the look of the Luluk, there's a Tim Burton vibe to it. I had already mentioned the Tim Burton vibe back in season 1, especially with the episode about Usopp. But here there's a little Tim Burton vibe that's really nice in a good way. Not just in the quirky sense, in a good way. When Luluk and the others attack the castle, it's pretty cool, almost like Power Rangers. Tokusatsu as they say. I don't know, let's just say Super Sentai. There's a bit of that vibe, but you think, yeah, it works with the One Piece universe. That kind of thing. So, I understand once again that some people get hung up on it, because they think they're going to see Game of Thrones. No, watching One Piece won't be like watching Game of Thrones. It's going to be a whole different vibe. A lot more colorful, a lot goofier, a lot more cartoonish, because that's just how the world of One Piece is, actually. Are you complaining that it's too faithful, the whole One Piece vibe? I get that, and on top of that, stuck. But you're not watching, I think you're not watching people who are flat out trashing the show. I think you're not looking at it through the right lens. One Piece, obviously, it can be epic, it can be grand, and this episode is grand, make no mistake, but let's not forget that it's still about a rubber guy. Who's friends with a reindeer? Don't forget that. The world of One Piece will never be. If you want to do it in live action, it can't be realistic. Photorealistic, it's not possible. Otherwise, it's not One Piece anymore. You have to find the balance. If you give me Iluluk, but you don't give me Iluluk's hairstyle, is it still Iluluk? I'm asking the question, are we still even in that same zone? The appearance of the characters in manga, that's a fundamental difference between US comics, for example, and manga. It's that the appearance, the character design of the characters in manga, especially in One Piece, reflects their personality, which is not necessarily the case in comics. I don't have an example in mind right now, but I know that's not necessarily the case in comics. In comics, their look is more closely tied to the symbols they're meant to represent. For example, Superman is blue and red because that's America, if you will. Iluluk is purple and has hair shaped like a pharmacy cross because he's a doctor and because he likes sakura flowers. That's it. But also because he's a clownish doctor and his role isn't to heal people physically, it's to heal their soul. So, he has a clown-like appearance. So it was necessary to keep Iluluk's hairstyle. Did it really need to be 3 meters long? It seems even longer than in the manga. Maybe not, but it works. You don't even notice his stupid haircut anymore after a while. You're so absorbed in the episode, you accept being in the universe, and it's beautiful despite everything. Even Chopper being a reindeer, you don't question it. Just say you ate a fruit. You must have eaten one, that's it. He transforms, no problem. Honestly, it was also, there weren't too many stupid little winks in this episode, at least I didn't see any. It was really, well, strictly manga colors. Well, I still would have liked at some point to see the were-rabbits there. Just to show that there are still some weird creatures in this universe because we don't really see many in One Piece. Which is a shame. Sure, we have a talking reindeer, okay, we have fishmen, okay. But we don't see any funny monsters, not many, you know. Or monsters at all, we don't see many of them. Yeah, I say that, but after Little Garden we did get giants and dinosaurs. But they're dinosaurs, that's not weird. They're just dinosaurs, you know what I mean? But there are were-rabbits. Ah, now that's exotic. So, we didn't get any. That's a shame. They're not called were-rabbits, I don't care. Yeti monsters, I think that's it. I call them were-rabbits. I like the whole were-rabbit thing. There you go. But yeah, that's basically the setup. When does a man die? There you go, isn't it? It's in the top 5 best speeches in One Piece. Incredible, there you go. So honestly, this episode, besides praising it in every way, I don't know what else to say about it. It was just beautifully magnificent. Best episode of the season, best episode of the series. You throw that at me? I'm thinking there are still other flashbacks we're going to see that could be incredible. Brooks's flashback, if we get that far, it's going to be crazy. Robin's flashback will be wild. I think there will be Alabasta moments. It'll be incredible. There's a chance this series could be the greatest series of all time. That's it, in terms of adaptation. But once again, you have to see it through the lens that it's Power Rangers you're watching. It's premium Power Rangers. If you want, don't fall into the Power Rangers caricature. But don't say you're going to watch Game of Thrones, Scyther Banger, or Viking series. That's not what we're doing. It's a different vibe, a different style. And in that style, honestly, the series is a success. There you go, just for this episode, the series deserves to exist. They justified this adaptation, if only because of this episode. And how foolish I was back then to say that Drum was ultimately skippable. Because honestly, in the story, Drum is skippable. Because it has nothing to do with the Alabasta plot. Here, they added some elements to justify that it feels a bit less like a filler. It feels a bit less like a detour. That is, you take a detour, but it's still directly connected to the events of Alabasta. Because the current situation in Drum is partly connected to Baroque works. So that was actually a pretty smart move by the series to make that change. But if we had skipped that in the live-action version, we would have missed one of the best scenes from the manga. There, it has to be said. It has to be said. The character hero look was incredible. There you get the feeling that the actor was too good for the series, but in any case, he stole the show. As they say, honestly, very, very stylish. Kureha also did an amazing job too. I'm really impressed by the work that went into this episode. Looks good to me, no obvious flaws. To be the scene where he dies, could have used a bit more grandeur. But it works. There's the moment when Dalton comes out and runs into Chopper right away and says, "If you can't beat me, leave, come back when you're stronger." Something like that. And then he comes back 10 minutes later. And then Wapol says, "Well, what's wrong, little beast?" And he replies, "No, I'm leaving." But in the manga, it happens outside. The whole scene takes place outside. So you see Chopper from afar, and Wapol says, "Hey, kill that thing for me." It's a bit more believable in the manga, that part. But there you go. Anyway, for me, I'm going to give this episode a 10. Despite everything, I was moved. I felt the passion of One Piece. I felt the brilliant writing of One Piece, and I'm really happy that the world of One Piece is really going mainstream, because it deserves it. So congratulations to the teams at Tomorrow Studio, I think. I'm still gonna come at you over Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, which was announced. I'll make a separate video to discuss it. But for One Piece, you really nailed it. So the episode is incredible. I'm almost afraid to start the last one because I wonder, after reaching this peak, how can you top that? How can you top that? I don't know how you can top that. Anyway, it was awesome. Well done. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you soon for the final review of the One Piece episode from Season 2 of One Piece live action. Yes.